And welcome again to another edition of Nights Around the Fire. I'm here with Sue Taylor. Another exciting topic. Today, Sue, what are we going to do?
We are going to talk about Mr. Krampus.
Krampus. Now, this is a Christmas story, isn't it?
It really is, and I think this is a great one for our channel because we are going to talk all about stories that have been told around the fire for centuries.
Now, I'm assuming, Sue, that the gentleman behind me on the desk,
Oh, look, there he is! Yeah!
he's appeared.
Right there, yeah.
Okay.
He's on my shirt, and he's also, you will not be able to see this, but he's also on my necklace.
Sue's ready, and a festive person she is. Well, Sue, what exactly is Krampus?
So, Krampus is kind of a monster demon figure who is the opposite of Santa Claus. And Krampus comes the night before St. Nicholas in the old traditions, and Krampus punishes the bad children, where St. Nicholas rewards the good.
Now, I'm going to go on a limb here. There's probably more bad children today than maybe ever.
Yeah, and I like to lump it into bad adults too, but I can tell you this year, Krampus night is December the 5th. I can tell you on the morning of December the 6th, all of the people that I thought might have been picked up by Krampus the night before were still there.
Can't have everything. I can't. I personally I have a list myself that I'd like to see hauled off, but that's me.
I have a cat named Krampus, and I was very clear with him who I wanted picked up in the in his sack this year, and he assured me he was going to do his best, but let me down.
Okay, so where has Krampus mostly been celebrated?
So he is very Eastern European. He has origins in southern Germany, Slovenia, northern Italy, and Romania, as well as the majority of the Alpine region. Now, I will say, my grandma, her family came over from Poland, and she was born here, but she spoke Polish before she spoke English. So she knew a lot of those traditions, and I think my grandmother told me a version of Krampus. So whereas AI told me today that Krampus does not extend into Poland, I think my grandmother told pieces of the Krampus story, because I clearly remember her telling me that if you were bad, somebody was going to take you away in a sack.
So he has a longer reach than AI believes he has.
He's very old. He goes back to the pagan traditions, so long before the established Christian Christmas traditions. He goes all the way back in time.
Okay, so when we look at Krampus, then we're looking at an anti-Santa Claus.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say anti, because I feel like anti's got a bad term to it. I want to say opposite. So, like, think of it as, like, dark and light. Like, Krampus is the dark.
Okay.
Father Christmas is the bringer of gifts and happiness and shining and everything.
So what exactly does Krampus do to these poor kids?
So Krampus comes the night of December the 5th, and supposedly there are some things that you can do to welcome Krampus into your house. This all depends on what you read. I currently have bells on my front door and back door to welcome Krampus to the house. I've read some portions where they kind of combined it with the St. Nicholas legend, where you put your shoes out for Krampus to leave Krampus an offering of some type, like wine, food, something like that. But if Krampus shows up at your house and you have bad children, or you are bad, we'll say everybody, we'll say he goes for everybody. Krampus brings whips, usually of birch branches, and chains, and he will take you away in his sack to the underworld.
Whoa, that's harsh. So it's just not coal, huh?
No. But so it's interesting you say that, because we tell people that all the time. Like, you had kids. Did you ever tell them that if they were bad, Santa wasn't going to bring them anything?
Right.
He was gonna leave them cold?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's a twist on Krampus, because there's that condition to Christmas.
Yes.
Well, I mean, think about it, like 500 years ago. Well, if you're not good, Krampus is going to come for you. You better behave, or Krampus is going to come and take you away.
Wow. I wonder, and here I go, I wonder if there's more to this legend than we imagine. I wonder if there is a creature such as Krampus that actually did sort of roam the countrysides of Europe looking for bad children, or maybe just looking for easy pickings, which usually are going to be bad children.
That's a good question, and I haven't read anything where people actually like saw anything like that. But I would be really interesting because you think about it, Krampus, he's kind of an abbreviated version, and he's on my shirt, but he kind of looks like the Minotaur from the Greek legend.
Yes, and the underworld.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we never know. And of course, here on Nights, what we find out is you really never know everything. There's always something that we may overlook because it's not documented. Plus, let's be honest, Sue, a lot of times you have to go pretty far back to find the sort of where the legend began. We may not always know that.
I will say that Krampus is one of those legends that it is extremely hard to go far enough back. And I read a book that we can put the picture on the screen right now. You're going to see a picture of a cat. That is my cat Krampus, sleeping beside a book that says Dead of Winter as the title. Even that book, which was very detailed, and it was a wonderful read, I highly recommend it, was very, it didn't seem to go far enough back. Like there doesn't seem to be any one clear point that this is where Krampus emerged in our society.
Okay, so having done research all my life, I realize this, that many times, Krampus, for instance, since we're dealing with him, goes back to pagan times.
Yeah.
So
it's a pagan tradition associated with the winter solstice.
So there has to be probably one or two people, possibly in Europe, that have done research that may not have had things published, but may know the actual origins of such a creature, if he really did exist. And again, we're effing this. This is Nights Around the Fire. We're going to always take liberties here to say there's always a chance something like this exists, because let's be honest, we deal with Bigfoot here all the time. So, Sue, do you think this has never really taken on here in America, has it?
Well, actually, so the yes and no. So the Krampus tradition itself of like Krampus is coming to take you away, and like the whole December 5th is Krampus night, December 6th is St. Nicholas night. That tradition we don't really keep.
Okay.
But we do, like we just talked about, you do tell children, have you been good? If you haven't been good, Santa's not going to bring you any presents. Well, I hope Santa doesn't leave coal in your stocking. And I mean, there was that age-old tradition of, well, what if Santa just leaves a switch in your Christmas stocking? So we do, but not in the same form that it was done traditionally in the past in these European countries. It's the classic evolution of stories that we talk about here on this channel is, what may have started with the Eastern European tradition of Krampus has now evolved up to Santa leaving coal or leaving a switch or not bringing you anything. There's always that threat of something bad happening if you don't behave.
So I know that basically Europeans and Eastern Europeans, folks from, the Norway and Sweden and those places, I know they also have Santa Claus.
Yes.
So they really have a dual Christmas. They have Krampus and Santa Claus that pretty much they talk about during that season, right?
Yeah, and I don't know, I didn't look at this part of it. It wasn't in any of the books that I read. I don't know what type of celebrations they do with St. Nicholas night as well. I think most people universally celebrate like the Christmas,
right,
December 25th as the official day. So I don't know that there's a St. Nicholas Day, or I don't know if they do both, or if anybody knows, comment, because I would like to know. So it's not like they have two, but they have a very ancient history with St. Nicholas.
Right. And our history here really is limited back to Coca-Cola. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and the reason I'm asking that is because I've watched quite a few programs that are European, that are Eastern European, some from Norway, Denmark, and those Christmas movies actually. But they do have a lot of Krampus in them. They do show Krampus being dressed up on the streets. So it is something up front for them here in the United States and probably maybe even Western Europe, not so much. But I think it's terrifying to tell somebody that, no, you're not just going to get coal. He's going to chain you and take you into the Netherlands.
So that's actually a good segue because you asked about like we don't really celebrate it here. Well, so since Krampus has really picked up, and I think one of the things that really he got popular in pop culture.
Yep.
Like you say, there is an excellent Krampus movie out there. I think it's from 2013. That one is very, very good. If you're gonna watch a Krampus movie this season, that's the one you want to check out.
We'll look that up and then put it on screen what that particular movie is.
But since those have become more popular, you've started seeing in the European countries, they have the Krampus runs, where everybody dresses up like Krampus and they run through the crowd. And the book, The Dead of Winter, that I read, she describes that those things can get violent. Like, sometimes you're going to get somebody who's playing around, but like sometimes you're going to get somebody who's really going to hit you hard with a birch stick. Or, like, parents bring their children to it. She said in the book, I would assume that you're not going to bring a child who's going to be traumatized by this. But these kids, like, their parents bring them and they're holding them. The Krampuses are trying to pull them out of their parents' arms. And
terrifying.
yeah, like, I imagine it'd be pretty scary. I think you'd be pretty careful about who you bring.
Wow. Hey, listen, folks, I just want to kind of mention here, you're watching Nights Around the Fire. If you enjoy our content with Sue and Ashley, please like, subscribe, and share our videos. It's the best way for us to reach more people with our content. And if you have something you'd like us to discuss, to investigate, and to put on one of our videos, please leave a comment in the description box. We'll be glad to look into it. We do still have a pretty long list of things to sort of investigate, but we're always wanting more. Anyway, back to Krampus. This is interesting because to me, there's just something strange about it. I mean, out of nowhere, before St. Nicholas, there was a Krampus.
Yeah, yeah. And I wish that like you could really see exactly like how it had evolved over the years. But I think it's become so popular in the last few years that that's really where people just started talking about it and they kind of know what it is and they know where it came from, but they don't have those specifics of when exactly we started doing this, when exactly we started, watching out for Krampus, putting out bells for Krampus. And
it's like a winter horror story.
yeah, and there's a lot of that. Like, if you read the Dead of Winter book that I've read, really goes through a lot of these, and we'll talk about another one here in a couple of weeks closer to New Year's. But there's really a lot of dark stuff associated with the Christmas season, but not because it's like Halloween and it's intended to be scary. It's all based around the pagan traditions and
the winter solstice,
and a lot of them are they're not meant to be scary, they're meant to bring good luck, or they are meant to bring something to the earth. Or some of them, which we'll talk about in our next video, are they all kind of fall in lines with trick-or-treating, or kind of give you the ideas of where we as a culture picked up some of these traditions that we really like today.
Yeah, I always find it interesting. And of course, Sue and I are movie buffs. We watch a lot of different types of movies. And over the years, I've watched a lot of, not the type of horror movies you see today with these really weird special effects and vibrating people. And I'm talking original horror stories. And many of them occurred during the winter. And to me, winter is a terrifying thing to think about when you talk about the occult or you talk about monsters and witches, because it's a dark time, it's a cold time, And back in the day when our ancestors lived pretty much in the forests of Eastern and Western Europe, there were always stories about nymphs and uh, you know, trolls and all types of things that we now see in pop culture. But it seems that we've had, can add Krampus to that now.
But let me bring this up to you. And I mentioned this last night because I was with some friends who had been to Iceland, and they talked about the majority of people in Iceland believe in elves. I don't know if it's like, so you got to think a lot of this pop culture we have probably comes from other people's traditions because we in America don't really have things like that. We
No.
don't really, if you ask the population of America if they believed in elves, they would all think you were insane.
Yeah.
Hobbits or something. They
Yeah.
would think you were nuts. Like, I don't even know how many people here believe in ghosts or Bigfoot or would tell you that was hogwash. But America just doesn't have any of those things that they really practice and believe in, and oh well, there's spirits there or something like that. It's not a national cultural thing.
Yeah, and we have to consider this, folks, that America is still very young compared to all the civilizations, all the countries, all the peoples of Europe and Eastern Europe. And we really didn't go through any of that.
Right.
We had a whole different world here when people came to settle here.
Well, look at my grandmother, because her parents came directly from Poland, so they would have told her they came over in late 1800s, early 1900s. Sorry. So they would have not known the Coca-Cola polar bears and the Coca-Cola Santa riding the little train and everything. They would have told her what they knew. They would have told her about Father Christmas and St. Nicholas and Krampus. And so you think about all of the immigrants that came here in the early 1900s around the same time, they brought all of their traditions that they told. So these stories just got passed down from generation to generation, and it's not something that we as a culture all learn together. And we're all taught universally the same thing.
Yeah, even though it's a melting pot, and so probably are some of the traditions, they do kind of get melded together. There are still things that are specific to our European ancestors, whether it's in Eastern or Western Europe. I just think there's a lot of interesting folklore out there. Krampus is very interesting.
He's very interesting. It's a very fun. I've heard people talk about how scary and demonic it is and all this. And no, it's none of those things. It's based off of pagan cultures. It's something that I'm sure children were frightened by it thousands of years ago, and I'm sure children are frightened by it now, but I'm sure there were children out there who thought it was great. Like my buddy that is sitting behind us right now, I have big collection of Krampuses, Krampus, Krampy. I don't know what the plural term for multiple Krampuses is, but I've got a Krampus in the corner, and I put him out right after Thanksgiving. So some people have an elf on the shelf. I've got a Krampus in the corner. He sits on my mantelpiece all season.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you have the elf on the shelf. That's something that I don't know where that came from.
Well, and so we got on this topic, not intentionally, but it's a good thing because the Dead of Winter book talks about that too, that it's another creature that comes into your house. And I think they started it in 2003, I think she said. I think that's what the author said. But it's another creature that comes into your house and spies on you and will go back and do something. So it's another dark twist. So Krampus is just an older version of the elf on the shelf.
Interesting. Yeah, we've used elf on the shelf here, and people, or say parents, do all the time. But again, we never look back to see what does this really mean. Where were the roots of this particular creature?
I think Hallmark was the roots of the elf on the shelf.
Maybe Hallmark has a way of changing traditions for sure by trying to make sure they maintain traditions. They change traditions because I never heard hot chocolate mentioned so much in my life till I watched Hallmark.
Yeah, yeah. But we like hot chocolate.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I do, but it became part of the terminology of a Hallmark movie.
And maybe in thousands of years, when whatever society comes after us, they're going to be reviewing our Hallmark movies. And they're going to be going, wow, look at what these people really thought. Like, they'll be releasing, like, the Hallmark Christmas guy on the shelf or something like that.
But what's funny is, this is what gets me, folks, is that in a way, Hallmark has created a whole new way of looking at Christmas. None of that was really done. The whole tradition they put together on every single Hallmark Christmas movie doesn't really exist in real life in its full form. But they've created a whole world, almost cult-like world, where you have to have hot chocolate, romance, a parade, a Christmas fair, snow.
Canonsburg got pretty close a couple of weeks ago. So last Thursday there was an event in town. It was for those of you who are local, it was a cookie crawl. I highly recommend it for next year. But it was snowing, and we're all walking through the streets with our little passports to get our cookies. And I said to my boyfriend, boy, they've got to have written a Hallmark movie about this, because this is just straight out of a Hallmark movie.
Exactly. For those of you that don't know, Hallmark sponsored the first Canonsburg Christmas, put a lot of money into it, had the car, the truck, trees, and ornaments, and they pretty much sponsored it for a couple years, and it's taken off since then. And of course, the town decorates in a big way. We become sort of a Hallmark Christmas town, but it's interesting that really, when you look at a Hallmark movie, you realize that that's not a real world at all. Not that we know that it's a movie, but that's not what everybody really does.
So let's keep talking about Canonsburg Christmas for a second, because I can tie it into Krampus.
Okay.
So something that has become very popular in the United States is some towns do Krampus runs, but a lot of places are doing, like, I've gone to Krampus Fest downtown. It's held on December 5th. We'll put a picture up on the screen so you guys can see. And they don't do it as much anymore, but they'll have like a Krampus that you can go sit on his lap, get your picture taken with him. One place locally had Krampus pictures with pets. So I wanted to take my animals, but we did not have that kind of time. But it's a really big thing. So I said to the owner of one of the businesses in town here, I said, I think we need to start a Canonsburg Krampus run. And she said, oh yeah, I'm all for it. So if anyone from the Canonsburg Business Association is listening to me, here's my theory. You have Canonsburg Christmas Friday and Saturday. You close the street early on Thursday, like you always do. Thursday night, that's the Krampus night. Thursday night, we bring all the Krampuses to Canonsburg.
Oh my, what can go wrong there?
Technically nothing, really nothing. Like, as long as, you set rules and guidelines and, you don't bring the crazy people in who are genuinely going to cause any harm.
So that would be in basically competition for the Grinch that we have here.
We do have the Grinch, and technically you could say that the Grinch is kind of a spin-off of Krampus, because it's another creature who lives by himself, and he comes and the Who's, depending on which version of the Grinch you watch, the Who's weren't really bad. They got a little commercialized in the one.
Yeah.
But they weren't bad people, per se. So you could say that Krampus and the Grinch are very similar.
Related, maybe. I don't know. Besides Doctor Who, I wonder where he got the idea for the Grinch.
I actually don't know.
Again, here we go. I mean, sometimes ideas come and it's just amazing that they pop up. But a lot of times it's based on finding out something or hearing something and saying, I can play on that. I'm sure that if we had the time to look up researchers around the world, we can find some crazy stuff that some people would never have heard of.
And that's a recommended reading, is that Dead of Winter book that I keep referencing, because it does talk about a lot of the crazy stuff that's out there. Like the fact that Carnival used to overlap Christmas, and then they moved it around to accommodate the church's calendar.
That happened a lot.
Yeah, that did happen, yeah.
Because that was pagan.
Yes.
Now, when the church came along, a lot of pagan traditions were gone, but a lot of them were adapted.
Yes.
And absorbed in some cases.
Yes. Christmas trees, Yule logs.
Christmas trees and Yule logs.
All of that was something, and St. Nicholas became Santa Claus.
Right. And I believe that, again, if you go far enough back, you probably can find some connections to a lot of different pagan holidays with all of our holidays. Easter,
Yes. Yes. Easter was one. Halloween is one. It was just it was kind of convenient for the early church because they were like, oh, there's already holidays. We can just put them here. And the Dead of Winter book did say that one thing that the church wanted to do was they wanted to have Jesus's conception around Easter so he could be born at Christmas so that he was crucified at Christmas. So
Easter.
or Easter, yes, thank you, Easter. Yes.
Now, of course, we know that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. If you didn't know that, you do now. And of course, we go with it. You know, a lot of people think it's true, but it's not.
It's not.
And you also got to realize that, as Sue mentioned, the Catholic Church, which was the church of the day, was trying to accommodate everything and bring some of those pagans into the church by keeping their holiday and just naming it. And in a sense, with Easter, they didn't even name it something else. Easter was Esther worship, I believe.
Yeah, and Christmas was Saturnalia, which was the feast around Saturn.
Right. So we just kind of went in and stole the holiday, which I guess is okay. Thanksgiving's the only one that we sort of like created.
We created that one on our own.
How much of that is really believable? The actual Thanksgiving Day feast.
You really want to answer that?
Our audience might. Sue's being silent here.
Not much.
Yeah, not much. And if you go to Europe, they make fun of us because of our Thanksgiving Day celebration. I don't mind. It's holiday. We get off.
We get off. It's turned into a nice little 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
The food is good.
You go Christmas shopping, which I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it works out.
Yeah, it's a nice holiday.
Now, there's purists that get mad about all this. Christmas just isn't Christmas because it's the 25th. It's always the 25th. It's got to be the 25th. Okay. That's fine, but that's not the real birthday of Jesus.
No. It's not.
We kind of miss out on a lot of things here in America because Americans seem to always go off the reservation with facts. And our European friends, having talked to many of them, giggle about that.
And you think about how much older the European countries are. Like, Europe had established like court systems when there was nothing over here. If you go back and watch our video on the witch trials,
yeah,
that was 1692, and we weren't even the United States yet. We were just a bunch of people living in the wilderness, yelling witch at each other.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't actually a real country until almost 100 years later. And the Europeans were they were so well established, they were out founding new countries.
Yeah. That's something Americans miss in history. And we tend to overwrite it because we want to be America. But the truth is, a lot of the traditions we have today were founded with European traditions for the most part. Krampus is now really becoming a new one more because just in the last few years, Krampus has come to the forefront in quite a few movies.
And because of the movies, because of the pop culture twist on him, he has really picked up, like, you can drink Krampus beers, you can buy Krampus attire, you can buy Krampus stuffed animals, you can go to Krampus festivals, you can do a lot of them. Like, Pittsburgh has moved theirs. It used to be held down at Market Square, but now they hold it over at the Penn Brewing North Side. I've never gone since it's been moved, but when it was down at the market, it was always nice. Like, they would do the Krampus parade, and like they would come like with their bells and like the chains and everything, and like beat their little drums. We would all just kind of mob them. Like, whoever was there, you would just say, okay, we want a picture with you. And there's a band, Slayer, the Krampus band, who is local to Pittsburgh. You can check out their Facebook page. They play heavy metal Christmas carols, and they have Krampus as a mascot on their shirts. So I have I have one of those at home.
Maybe Pittsburgh will be Krampus's home base here in America.
He could be. He could be.
I didn't realize Krampus was getting that popular here.
Do you know who else has a big Krampus festival?
Who?
Salem.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Just to note this, we just released our Salem witch trials video. I'll leave a link in the description box to that video, so you can just click on it and go to our site and watch all of our videos there. Sue went into detail about a lot of the historical facts about what happened in Salem. I didn't realize Krampus now has a home base there as well.
They actually they have a really nice Krampus festival. I would like to go, and I said to my boyfriend, I think we should go next time at Christmas. I know it's going to be cold, and I know there is quite the risk that we could run into a terrible snowstorm up there at that time. But I think it would be fun to see the place all decorated and to see the Krampus running around and all that.
The Krampus Festival. Sue has been to quite a few festivals. Bigfoot.
Bigfoot?
Have you been to the Mothman Festival?
Not yet, no. I was supposed to go a couple years ago and ended up getting COVID.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Not a good thing. By the way, we have done videos on Mothman. We have done videos on Bigfoot, of course. And I suggest you go again to the video channel and watch those videos. They're really well done. We have a lot of information there. We are going to return to Bigfoot.
We are going to return to Bigfoot.
Sounds like a movie. Return to Bigfoot.
Yep. Yep.
Starring Sue Taylor.
Maybe that's what we'll call our encounter when the weather breaks and we can get out in the forest and look for Bigfoot.
Yeah, we're still on for that. The Mothman Festival is pretty far distance away from here. It's like 3 hours.
Yeah, about that.
And that's in West Virginia. Again, that video is pretty good video as well.
Speaking of the Mothman, it is this week was the anniversary of the Silver Bridge collapse, which the Mothman supposedly predicted, depending on who you believe.
If you ever watched that movie, it is a movie with Richard Gere called The Mothman Prophecies. It's okay. It was filmed basically at the town and some sites here in Pittsburgh. And of course, we were right on top of it because we love legends, mysteries, and myths. So is Krampus more of a legend, a mystery, or a myth?
I think Krampus is a legend. I think he is a story that has found his way over thousands of years, and he is still going strong in today's society.
Once again, if you enjoy these types of stories, this type of conversation, please like, subscribe, and share our videos to your friends, to your neighbors, to people that work with you. If they enjoy this, they will love this channel. A lot more coming. I know Ashley's coming in, I believe, the week after next. We're going to be doing a video on artificial intelligence. And of course, Ashley likes those topics as well. And I think she's going to discuss if there's a problem there. What do you think, Sue?
My full-time job that pays the bills does AI, so I have no comment.
She's gone silent. I can tell you that we do use AI here on the channel, all my channels, and I'm very careful because there's some crazy things it comes up with. But stay tuned for Ashley's video. Don't forget also that we're going to do some folklore videos about goblins and trolls and fairies and such from the European standpoint. I just thought of that the other day, and I thought, following up with Krampus, it hits me now that that's probably a pretty good video to talk about because, again, you go back to Lord of the Rings. What do you think that's really about?
Well, and that's my friends made that point when they came back from Iceland, is they said, you ask people if they believe in elves, and they go, you mean like in Lord of the Rings? And in Iceland, that's not a thing. Like, they're real elves. Like, it's a real thing. It's a very big deal for these people.
I believe in Scotland it's the same. Fairies, and they are deep in that folklore in Scotland?
So there's actually, speaking of fairies, there is a very interesting topic that I didn't really know anything about. It's called the Coventry fairies. Have you heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
It's supposedly long before Photoshop or AI was a thing, a little girl had some pictures taken with fairies. And I got asked by one of our regular viewers if we would cover that and discuss whether or not these were real or fake.
We're in times now where it's very difficult to determine that. Now, maybe with the fact that it's before AI, you might have a better chance at it.
It was back in the old time camera. That would have been particularly hard to fake. Now, I could take a picture of me with a fairy right now.
Yeah, you can. And sadly, it makes it very difficult for people like us who do research on these topics to sometimes sort through it. We try very hard to do that with UFOs, which we've talked about, Bigfoot, which we've talked about. Of course, we do have the famous Bigfoot photo.
Mm-hmm. Which was also, like we talked about, that's also before you could fake it. And I will say, I ran Krampus through AI when I was finalizing some stuff, and AI told me that Krampus wasn't a thing in Poland, which, okay, may not be a thing in Poland, but I can tell you that my grandmother talked about something that was going to take you away in a sack if you weren't good. So I think AI might have been wrong, and Grandma King knew more than AI did on that one.
Yeah, that's the problem with AI, and I think we'll find a lot more out when Ashley does the video. And I'm going to bring that up in her video. How do we sort that in our world today? You have to do a little extra work, don't you?
You are the human. The AI is not the human. You must behave like the human.
So, Krampus, so do you think this is just going to gather steam and become a more and more important part of our Christmas traditions?
I think in some culture, in some parts of it, yes. I think some people, you're not going to be able to convince them that this isn't some terrible, evil thing.
Yeah, we have a lot of that. Everything's a demon type of persona that they give creatures.
I was very careful. I wanted to be very careful when we discussed this to make sure that we were not trying to say that this was anything that was evil or demonic or anything like that. That this is truly just an age-old pagan legend that has carried over for thousands of years and is still being talked about and is frankly still being enjoyed to this day.
I think it's interesting. I think it's fun.
I know we've got some people from Canonsburg who watch this video. I can tell you which business owner I've talked to. We can make this happen.
Okay, whoever that is, get involved. Krampus would be a hit. Coming to a shop near you, Krampus. And of course, kids, I think, would adapt to it. I don't think it's as terrifying as it needs to be. Maybe.
I don't think it's as terrifying as it needs to be because some of these sound pretty violent. I don't think we need to get that violent, and I also think it's definitely one of those things that you don't bring every child to it. Like, there are some kids that are going to think it's hilarious. There are some kids that are going to be scared out of their minds. You don't bring your kid to a Krampus run if you think they're going to be traumatized, and that's what they're going to be talking to their therapist about in 30 years.
Keep in mind that European children have been dealing with this for a long time. I mean, this is not something new there. For us, it's something new. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I think anything that can add some excitement to a dark time of the year, I'm for.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's all in good fun. Like, I've had great times every time that we've been down to the festival. There is a shop here in Canonsburg that sells a Krampus candle. They have Krampus and Kringle, which is St. Nicholas. The Krampus one is black, and then the Kringle one is green. And I told the business owner, I am very grateful that you are selling these candles again because I really wanted to burn mine to see what it smelled like, but I was afraid you would sell out. I would never be able to get another one.
Yeah, limited time offer.
Actually, that's we talk about the Krampus merchandise. Shaker Woods Festival up in Ohio. I bought Krampus melt warmers for my tart warmer thing, and they smelled like pine. So they're
my favorite smell.
Yeah, it's a good smell.
I'd like that as well.
Krampus is everywhere. You may not realize that Spirit Halloween sells a $300 and some Krampus figure. I think it's 6 foot tall.
You can stand next to your skeleton for Halloween. and next year Santa Claus for Christmas.
Yep.
One $300 item for 2 holidays. Fantastic.
Yep. He's right there.
It's a bargain.
He hasn't really made it into Halloween. You don't see a lot. I figured there would be some crossover.
Yeah, no crossover.
Not really much crossover.
Well, Sue, right on his channel, we can start that crossover.
We could start that crossover, and I mean, my Krampus cat is open for all holidays.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure what happens to Krampus when it's not Christmas or December, right? What does he do?
I think he goes back to the underworld. I think that's his thing. But you've got to think about the fact that he has to watch to know who's not behaved.
So he has a setup like Santa?
I guess so. So, like, I guess his life's a lot easier now because he's just got cameras and AI phones and all that stuff. So, it's probably, the modern day Krampus is much easier than the 14th century.
Yeah, I don't know. They had AI systems back then.
Then he had to physically go around all the villages.
Oh, he was busy.
He had to start. Like, I'm sure he started. You know, St. Nicholas Day was the 6th. So I'm sure he finished what he did on the 5th and got right back up again on the 6th and started going around to see who was behaving.
Question here: Santa, as we know, has elves. Here we go, elves.
Yep.
Does Krampus have like a group?
So supposedly yes. They go by a variety of name. I have seen them referred to as elves. That may be a pop culture thing. There are also a variety of other Krampus figures in the traditions, storytelling, histories,
Folklore.
folklore. Thank you. That have been passed down.
So he isn't by himself. He has help.
He has help, yeah. I don't know how much help he has. He might be understaffed.
You think about it. You have 800 million people today on the earth. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. Listen, Santa has to go into hyperdrive to reach these people now. So Krampus would probably be in the same thing unless he has secret passages in the underworld.
If you're creeped out by the elf on the shelf watching you, you got this guy also watching you.
Yeah, surveillance.
Which you could talk about. We worry about surveillance in today's society. We've had surveillance for thousands of years. It just came in the form of demons.
Okay, so Krampus is a very interesting creature. What do you have coming up next that you want to talk about? I know you mentioned you had thought of some things here for your next video that's Christmas based, right?
Yeah, so I think it might be fun because Christmas is a week from tomorrow. Might be fun we can sit down and talk about Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
Interesting. A very scary novel.
But that's one of my favorite Christmas stories.
I mean, don't you think it would be terrifying to be visited by 3 ghosts basically back in 1800s? Is that the 1800s or early 1900s? I think it was the 1800s.
I think it's late 1800s, early 1900s. That's a very interesting one to talk about, how that really created the evolution of Christmas as we know it today.
Yeah, it definitely aided in it. And you can't get around Dickens' characters now.
You can't. They're literally everywhere. I have to go home and open my Muppet Christmas Carol Advent calendar tonight.
You figure Sue had it, right? You had to know that. Those of you that watch these shows, Sue's pretty much on top of it all when it comes to these characters. Well, that's good to know. Thank you, Sue, for that information. Folks, again, if you enjoy this content, what we bring to you with Sue and with Ashley, please like, subscribe, and share our videos. And again, comment. We want to hear what you have to say. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, a lot of the people that watch us have not subscribed, about 80% of them, 85%. So please subscribe. It does help with the algorithm. Hitting that like button does as well. Gets us some favor with the algorithm and gets us
people to squash that like button.
Squash that like button. Squash it. And we will definitely be aided with our algorithm to reach more people, which is our goal here. So I hope to see you next week. I think we're going to be doing a couple of videos before the end of the year. Look out for those. And of course, the first of the year, all holds are barred. Thanks for joining us on Nights Around the Fire. See ya.